What is up, survivors? This is Harv with Harv's Corner. For today's mod review, we're going to go over the Better Reusables mod. So we're going to get right into it. This isn't going to be a terribly long video, but we want to go over it. So what we have are a bunch of different reusables under this mod, which makes these little things that we'd normally have to replace every 5 seconds a lot more fun. So down at the hotbar, you can see what I have. I have the bolas, the boomerang, the regular spears, a crossbow armed with the reusable grappling hooks, and as well as parachutes. So what all of these do essentially is it makes it so that I can keep using them over and over again in a lot of cases instead of having to craft 97,000 of the same one over and over again. So, you know, typically if you're running around with bolas, you got a handful of them mainly because of that reason. So we're going to go over a couple of these things and kind of just show you exactly how they work. The first one is actually just going to be a regular bola. So it traditionally, I mean, we know how these things work, right? We wind them up, we throw them, and they grab stuff. And what they'll do is pin down normal dinos and make it so that you can tame them if they're not quite as they like to be skittish, or if you're just trying to hold them down while you tame them. And look at that. So we grab the scorpion and I can remove the bola here. Boink. And we get the bola right back in our inventory again. And I keep doing this over and over and over and over and over again. It makes the taming of the creatures a little bit easier. There might be a cooldown as far as like how far between I can... Well, there we go. There you go, bola me go. But the option to get these back in your inventory versus just straight up losing them makes them definitely beneficial. I mean, it makes it so you don't have to craft a lot of these things 700 times, you know? One of the next ones we have is the reusable grappling hook. So the grappling hook, traditionally you'd have to have like a monumental amount of these guys, and now you don't. So we can still reel this in like we would normally do, or reel myself out. And if we just let go, we don't lose the grappling hook. We still have one. I don't have to keep reloading it. That's pretty awesome. And I can break, and it just shows right back up. And we're good to go again. The idea behind this is that you can keep using the same grappling hooks, and you don't have to sit here and spam 900 grappling hooks in order to get this stuff done. It makes things like cave exploring a lot better, especially if you don't have to carry quite as many of them. So essentially you have infinite uses with something like this, and I'm gonna disengage myself from here because this is driving me a little crazy. Oh, there we go. But essentially you have so far with the bola and the grappling hook, we have unlimited uses with these. They're infinite, which is incredibly useful. Like I said, it's more so the bola is definitely more useful early on with certain tames, especially if you're taming low level stuff in the beginning. You're trying to get a parasaur, you're trying to get a pteranodon. You don't have to sit there and craft, like I said, 900 of these things. You just need a couple. You just need one, and it's gonna last you for a while. All right, next up is the Better Reusables parachute. And this traditionally works like a normal parachute, not a big deal. I'm flying around, I got a parachute, right? But if we break that parachute, I can immediately reuse it again. I immediately have another parachute. Now this one might seem like it's a little overkill, I think. It's kind of, you know, having a unlimited parachute is a little nuts. I don't necessarily... I don't know. I'm torn about this one. Like, I see where it's incredibly useful, but I also see where it's a little overkill because, you know, it's a parachute. You should be able to pull that once, and that's pretty much it. I don't think you're bagging the parachute back up in midair and getting ready to use it again. But all in all, it is useful, highly useful, especially any maps that have a lot of different elevation changes. I would imagine something like this on Valguera with a lot of the cliffs and a lot of the valleys and mountains is probably really useful, as well as maybe things like Genesis flying around between some of the more mountainous style biomes, or even in the ocean biome in Genesis. But anywho, that's pretty much how it works. It's like it's an infinite use. You craft one and you're good forever, which is pretty much the same thing we're doing with all of these. So next up, and this is the last two, are the spear and the boomerang. So the spear, normally we can melee with it, but we can also throw this guy, and it immediately appears back in my hand, which again is a little unrealistic, but at the same time it makes things like spear chucking a heck of a lot easier, only needing one of these things. A lot of these tools are going to make, I would say with the exception of the grappling hook, a lot of these things are going to make your early stuff a heck of a lot easier when you can have infinite spears, infinite bolas, and the infinite boomerang. So I'm torn about this mod in general, but we're going to finish it out before I give you my full opinion on it. But yeah, we can chuck spears. Spear chucking's always fun. And I just pooped. What do you think of that? Lastly but not least, because I think it's kind of an underrated weapon, to be honest with you, is the boomerang. So the boomerang, you can still do the melee with it like you usually could, and we can throw it as well, and it'll come back to us eventually. There it is. Came back to us. So it'll still do what it normally does, but what you're getting out of this is the durability on this one. So you still have infinite uses, but if you notice these things down here, and let me drag it into my inventory so you can actually see it better, it doesn't actually have a durability option, so you can keep using these things over and over and over again. Now, what I would be interested in seeing is if you can take something like this and put it on like one of the upgrade station benches and make better versions of it, even though it's still reusable, to get more melee damage out of it. I think that would be kind of silly. I'm kind of hoping you can't, because I feel like it would be kind of silly to be able to run around with like an ascendant max damage infinite use boomerang that has no durability on it. If it had a durability on it, maybe, but at the same point, I guess if you have a durability on it, you're kind of bypassing the whole purpose of this mod. But anyway, so that's the boomerang and the spear. But that's pretty much it, guys. It is a small mod review. It's I know some of these end up being a little bit small, but it's one that I see used a lot and that I really like, but I see both sides to this. So I feel like there's probably two camps to mods like this. One's like, well, it's not very realistic. It kind of puts out the whole, kind of throws the whole surviving in a more realistic environment kind of out the window, which I kind of understand. The other school of thought would be this makes early stuff incredibly easier to do. So I really think it depends on what kind of player you are. I would say if you're more of a brand new player and you're really just getting a feel for a lot of this stuff, I would say maybe not use this mod. Maybe I would say this mod is more catered towards the player who's been playing Ark a lot, playing on a lot of different servers, and knows how to start out and knows the things that need to be done right off the bat, and is really familiar with it. I think because honestly, this just gets rid of a lot of those. It kind of fast forwards a lot of the troublesome things that happen early on, and the things the more of the monotonous tasking. So you don't necessarily have to craft 100 bolas and boomerangs and spears, and when you start to do cave diving, you don't need 50 grappling hooks in your inventory. I think it's useful. I don't think it's something that I would like to see in PvP. I think that kind of defeats the purpose again. But definitely for more of a PvP, I would recommend this mod for more of a PvE mid to veteran style level player, someone who's at least familiar with the mechanics and has played through Ark a couple of times, because like I said, it really kind of fast forwards everything. But for a newer player, I don't know if I'd recommend it for that, mainly because I think as a new player you really want to get a feel for exactly how hard some things and challenging some things can be pretty early on. But that's it, guys. That's a better reusable mod. We'll throw a link to the Steam Workshop for this mod in the comments in the description of the video, so you guys can check that out. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I like it, but it's definitely, in my opinion, I think it kind of caters to a certain audience. I think it's better suited for a certain audience, but all in all, I do like the mod. I do enjoy it. I think it's really cool. I might incorporate something like this on maybe the next server that I play through. As a person who's played through Ark quite a few times on quite a lot of different maps, things like this that I don't think are incredibly game breaking or anything like that, but do make a lot of the menial tasking early on a lot easier, I think are widely beneficial. Yeah, so all in all, I do like it. I think it's good. Definitely think it has its place like just about any other mod that I've seen so far for this game. Ark has a wonderful mod community, and I love seeing all the new cool stuff that gets handed out. But with that being said, guys, that's all we got. So if you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can see when the next videos are coming out. And feel free to follow me here. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch. We Twitch live stream Fridays and Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, usually a little bit earlier. I might reel that time back and start around 8 p.m. But that's about all I got. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for hanging out. And until next time.